Good evening. It's 6 o'clock. I'd like to call this meeting of the Manitou Springs City Council to order. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance, please. City Clerk, please call the roll, and I will observe that Councilor Wolf asked to be excused. She's out of town.
City Council members Judith Chandler,
Present.
John Shada, Natalie Johnson here, Michelle Weatherholt, Mayor Pro Tem Nancy Fortune,
Present.
and Mayor John Graham.
Present, thank you. Our next item is approval of the agenda. And Council, I would ask your indulgence on something. Since we have the police officers here to be sworn in, I would ask that we move up item H, which is their swearing in ceremony, to move that up to be the next item on the agenda, and then to also move up item G for ratification of the election of Manitou Springs Fire Chief and oath of office. And that would be the next piece of business. And then we would proceed with the rest of the agenda in the order presented.
So moved.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. Elena, how you want us to vote? Electronically? Let's vote.
Motion carries unanimously.
Great. Thank you. And if the record would please reflect that Councilman Shada has joined us at 6:02. Thank you. With that, our next item of business is the pleasant and meaningful business of swearing in our police officers. I think we can work from here. Well, let's fall in. That'd be great. Okay. Yeah. Excellent. Thank you. I think this is an honor for all of us. Several times I've had the honor of performing a swearing in ceremony here with police officers. And it's something I think that it's a brief ceremony, but it's meaningful. And in the last several years, I think City Council and citizens at large have seen the performance of you officers and the things that you've brought to the community. You enforce the law, yes. And some of us have an idea of what that is based on TV. But when we go out on the streets and we see you, and we see you feeding a dog or helping a homeless person or giving people directions or whatever, just performing service, making the community safer, it brings us that sense that really we are a community, and you are a huge part of that. What we're doing tonight is, yes, we're swearing you in, but there is an agreement between us. You are taking care of us. We're asking you. We're putting our trust in you and our confidence. You are individuals of very high caliber. Our expectations are also very high. And you've stepped up to the plate, and we've been honored to have the caliber of the professionalism that you've brought to the community. So be assured that on behalf of the City Council, city staff, and the community, we very much appreciate the work you do. With that, I will read the oath of office. And then the chief, the commander, and I we'd like to shake your hands and pass out the certificate. So if you'd raise your right hand, please. I state your name. Do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Colorado, the laws of the State of Colorado, in the City of Manitou Springs, and will faithfully perform the duties of the office of police officer, upon which I'm about to enter, to the best of my ability. Congratulations and thank you. Do we have family members who'd like to get a photo? Let's, before we shake hands, let's give people an opportunity to get photos. Sorry. Manitou's famous for ad-libbing a lot. Please come forward. Go ahead and get photos. We'll pause just a minute here. I understand that the city has cake somewhere here for a reception for a little bit, so let's go ahead and do the fire chief, and then you guys can get on to your reception. So our next piece of business then would be to ratify the election of the Manitou Springs Fire Chief and give him the oath of office. So, chiefs, if you'd come forward, please. The protocol that we do, fire chief. Great. Thank you. No, as you guys know what you should be doing, so that's great. Okay, thank you. So we have three fire chiefs to swear in tonight. We have the fire chief, the deputy fire chief, and an assistant fire chief. So we'll start with fire chief. And that is Keith Buckmiller. So Keith, if you would raise your right hand. And I should say first that the firemen elect the fire chiefs, and it's kind of a bit of housekeeping. The city council approves it. So we're delighted to have the opportunity to do this. So for the fire chief, I, Keith Buckmiller, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Colorado, the laws of the State of Colorado, and the City of Manitou Springs, and that I will faithfully perform the duties of fire chief for which I am about to enter to the best of my ability. Great. We'll do the deputy chief. Chief Forsett. Good. Yourself, and you've been a member of the fire department for how long? 42 years. That's a magnificent history. This people in the city of Manitou Springs very much appreciate your dedication. Okay. We'll do the oath of office. So we can both speak into the microphone here. Technology. I, John Forsett,
I, John Forsett,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Colorado,
the Constitution of the State of Colorado,
the laws of the State of
the
Colorado,
laws of the State of Colorado,
and the City of Manitou Springs,
and the City of Manitou Springs,
and that I will faithfully perform the duties
and that I will faithfully perform the duties
of Deputy Fire Chief
of Deputy Fire Chief
for which I am about to enter
for which I am about to enter
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Chief,
Thanks,
congratulations.
sir. And if I can, thank all of you for your support, especially for me and on behalf of the fire department for the last 10 years. It's been wonderful working with you guys.
Thank you, John. Chief.
Sorry, sir.
You don't fight fires without paperwork, I guess. Okay. David. Okay. David Crawford. I, David Crawford,
I, David Crawford,
do solemnly swear
solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Colorado,
the Constitution of the State of Colorado,
the laws of the State of Colorado,
the laws of the State of Colorado,
and the City of Manitou Springs,
and the City of Manitou Springs,
and that I will faithfully perform the duties
that I will faithfully perform the duties
of Assistant Fire Chief
of Assistant Fire Chief,
for which I am about to enter
for which I'm about to enter
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Okay. And if I may, there have been times when I've been in meetings with elected officials from other jurisdictions, and I have been, I guess, initially surprised that they went out of their way to mention to me that they are so impressed with the performance and the professionalism of the Manatee Springs Fire Department. A couple of them have teased me and said, whatever else is going on, you've got a very fine professional team of firefighters. This is a reflection on the caliber of leadership that you gentlemen bring to the department. So we very much appreciate the work you've done, and be assured that the community at large needs you, respects you, and admires you and the work you do. Thank you. Oh. Chief Forsyth, please. Lest I forget, I guess I was having an Alzheimer's moment there. On behalf of the dedication that you provided to your personnel and the city at large, we would like to present this plaque. John Forsyth, in recognition of 10 years of dedicated service as Fire Chief of Manitou Springs. Congratulations very much. John. Thank you, council. That was good to get those little ceremonies taken care of. And with that, the next item on the agenda would be public comment on non-agenda items. This is the time when anyone in the audience can speak on a non-agenda item.
Mayor,
Yes.
if I may, can we get a motion and a second for the ratification?
Okay, I'm sorry. Yes, my apologies. So actually, we need a, going back to item G for the ratification of the election of the Manatee Springs Fire Chief and oath of office. Technically, we need to approve this, so I would seek a motion to do so. Great, thank you.
Second.
Okay, motion is second. Let's go ahead and vote.
Motion carries unanimously.
Great, thank you. Thank you, council. I apologize. I should have done that before we pushed on. Okay, let's go back to, public comment on non-agenda items. So anyone in the audience can speak on a non-agenda item. You're limited to 3 minutes, and council's policy is not to respond, but we will listen. Okay, and Elena, we have someone online, I believe? Okay.
Yes, John? Rich?
Yes, can you hear me okay? This is Rich Block.
Okay, Mr. Block, this is our open comments time, so you'll have 3 minutes when you begin. And we have Richard Block and John Block from Paragon. Okay, and Richard, are you going to be the speaker?
Yes, sir. Yes, Mr. Mayor.
All righty. Okay, well, you go ahead and start. You have 3 minutes. And I don't know if you heard, but we do not, our policy is to not respond at this time. Go ahead. So you have
Yes,
the
sir.
floor.
Well, thank you. Good evening, Mayor and Manitou City Council, and thank you for the opportunity. Again, my name is Rich Block. For the record, our address is 8700 North Street, Suite 310 in Fishers, Indiana. Also on the phone or on the call is my son, John. He lives in Lakewood and he's acting as the development manager. But as a quick review, we purchased the former La Fun motel site about 2.5 years ago. You all probably know that the motel was demolished, that the asbestos was abated, and in fact, we obtained a letter of map revision. Shortly after we purchased it, I think probably 4 or 5 months afterwards, the zoning code changed after the purchase of our property. You probably are aware, we did file a variance because we were seeking to increase the density that would be allowed for apartment units at the site. We developed concept plans for the layout and elevations were prepared. We can send those to you, but I think there was a lot of sensitivity about the character and layout that was being proposed. We had planned a market rate attainable affordable rent project for the site. The concept plan was approved 4-3, but unfortunately the variance was denied 4-3. I would state that I believe all planning commission members seemed to like the design and concept, but felt the existing zoning code restricted their approval. We did also present to the Housing Advisory Board. I think it was well received and comments were supportive as well. Unfortunately, with the variance being denied, our request is to work with the staff and council to amend the zoning code. We feel it's very important for us to increase the density to keep the number of units and keep ultimately the rent that the apartment units would be charging to be as affordable as possible. I know when the zoning code was passed by council, there was discussion about revisiting the certain aspects of the code sometime in the future. And truly, we want to be a partner in the community. We did not want to go through a formal appeal to the Planning Commission's decision. And our hope is to work with council. So our request for your consideration and really to put on your radar is to allow for or consider a change or amendment to the code. And we would love to be a participant with the city to work with planning staff, the Planning Commission, and then ultimately with the city council. Don't understand the process well enough, but we certainly appreciate your consideration and thank you for allowing us time to present.
Very good. Thank you. Do we have anyone else who would like to speak for non-Jeanine? Okay, thank you. And if you'd state your name and give us your address before you start.
Good evening, Megan Day. I live at 12 Capitol Hill Avenue here in Manitou Springs. Thank you for your time. So I am making a statement as a professional planner for the last 16 years and one who has been an observer and a reviewer of over 100 zoning codes across the country. I've also been an observer of our development process. I'm an alternate on the Planning Commission. I was not seated and able to vote on this decision. But I still feel strongly about it. And so I'm here speaking as a public citizen and a member of the planning community and profession, as well as a Manitou resident. So the statement is based in that experience. Manitou has adopted an exclusionary zoning code that forces sprawling suburban and expensive development and makes the historic built environment so unique to our community illegal. Zoning has a long and shameful history of banning apartments and the people who live in them. This has been the purpose of zoning codes in many communities. So now we find ourselves a century later after zoning had been implemented in the US with widespread and extreme housing shortages, high housing costs, as well as a new generation, a younger generation who assumes that they will never be able to buy a home. Here in Manitou, we had the opportunity to allow for the development of market rate apartments on the only lot of its kind in our city, a 2-acre vacant commercial lot. But this zoning code, our zoning code caps the number of units that's allowed to a luxury condo rate, right? They could not develop these affordable, attainable apartments because our zoning code caps the density and forces, again, a luxury condo kind of density. So we're being very exclusive in our zoning code. So unless they bought a home in Manitou many years ago, Manitou's teachers, firefighters, police officers, city staff cannot afford to live here. In addition, we have schools that are only staying open due to out-of-town enrollment. And we have Manitou housing that is increasingly pricing out residents and being purchased as second homes by out-of-state investors, further hollowing out our community. So, and yet we decided to double down as a community and on banning the smaller, more affordable options that form much of the historic fabric of Manitou. Building or replacing housing like the Barker House, small cottages, garden apartments is illegal due to the zoning code's minimum lot frontages, minimum lot sizes, minimum setbacks, minimum off-street parking requirements, and maximum allowed units per acre. So instead of supporting and enhancing the unique historic community character of Manitou, we adopted an exclusionary zoning code. The code needs major revisions. Until changes are made, our city needs to support community building development proposals appropriate within their unique contexts, like the Paragon apartment proposal, and allow this variance or revise the zoning code to make our community more welcoming and affordable. Thanks.
Thank you. Do we have anyone else who'd like to speak on a non-agenda item? Right. Okay, thank you. We'll move on then, and if the record would show that Councillor Weatherholt has joined us. Okay, let's see. So next we have the consent calendar. Tonight we've got three items on the consent calendar. The first being approval of the December 17th, 2024 City Council regular meeting minutes. The second, consideration appointing reappointing David Armstrong to the City Planning Commission. And the third item, requesting approval of the general services agreement with Hammers Construction Incorporated for the Navajo Spring Improvements Project. If any councilor would like to take an item off and discuss it separately, we can do that. If not, I would look for a motion to accept and approve the consent calendar.
Move approval.
We motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Motion is second. Any further discussion? Let's vote.
Motion carries unanimously.
Great, thank you. Very good. Okay, next item, we'll move to business, the nomination and election of a mayor pro tem and alternate or backup mayor pro tem. This is something we do at the first meeting in January every year. During the last year, Mayor Pro Tem Fortune served, of course, in that position, and Councillor Johnson served as the alternate Mayor Pro Tem. The Mayor Pro Tem Fortune has indicated she does not want to continue that this year, and she suggested that essentially she trade places with Natalie. Natalie is willing to serve as Mayor Pro Tem, and then Nancy as the backup Mayor Pro Tem. I think that would be fine. I would look for other comments from council or a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I move approval of the proposal.
Okay, so the motion is to approve Natalie Johnson as Mayor Pro Tem and Nancy Fortune as the alternate or backup Mayor Pro Tem. I think we can do that in one motion. Do we have a second? Yeah, I'll second. Or any further?
I'll second it.
A second, okay, all right. The second goes to Nancy Fortune. Any further discussion? Go ahead, please, Judith.
Thank you, Mayor. I would like to discuss this item not as a product issue, but as a process issue, specifically the democratic process. I would like to recommend that we defer this discussion until the next regular meeting on the 21st. And my rationale is as follows. Whenever there is an opening either for the Mayor Pro Tem position or the backup Mayor Pro Tem position, I believe that it is incumbent that all city council members be present. And if there is any city council member that either wants to put their name up for nomination to fill this role or wants to be nominated by someone else, they should be given that opportunity and also given a forum to speak to the council on why they would like this position and what skill set they bring to it. So for that reason, I would like us to follow a more democratic process. I was a little frustrated that this kind of smacks to me sometimes of the lack of transparency where several council members will get together and have an idea. And I'm not saying it's a bad idea. We have a whole cater of very qualified candidates to fill these roles. But I do think that it's unfair, and I hope that we can respect and wait until the 21st when we have a full council and we can follow a more democratic process. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Shady, you have a comment?
Yeah, Judith, is that a motion? Well, I was just saying that if that's a motion, then that would supersede the main motion on the floor.
No, no,
Well,
no.
I
So
can't
that's
make
why
it-
I'm just asking.
Yeah, I can't make a motion because there's a motion on the floor.
Yeah,
I can
No,
only
no,
just-
you can make a motion
No.
to postpone it. It just supersedes the current motion is my point in terms of by rules of procedure.
I'll defer to the mayor on this.
I believe the motion to postpone, I don't believe precedes the motion on the floor. I think the motion on the floor has to be dispensed with. I don't know whether we're going to wrap our heads around the axle on this one. Let me ask the practical question. Julie's not here. She's visiting her son in Florida. She knew she was going to be gone. As of 3 weeks ago, we talked about it and she said she just wanted to be excused. I've not heard any interest from anyone else who wanted to showed an interest in really the Mayor Pro Tem's office. Nancy had, I'd asked her if she wanted to do it again. She said she really kind of wanted to step back, and she made the suggestion of what essentially the motion's on the table now. Yeah, go ahead and comment, please.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I was not aware that Mayor Pro Tem Nancy Fortune, after her very long service, is electing to step away from the position. Thank you for your great service. And I do, again, it's not a product issue. I think that there are 6 very qualified city council members that can fill this role. That's not my point. My point is that at a time when I think that democratic processes are central to our way of doing things around here. And in the spirit of rotation, I'm just recommending that we follow a democratic process and that we open it up and have a discussion when all council members are present. And again, if there's anyone who wants to step up for this position, that they be able to do so, and that council votes after hearing any potential candidate that wants to serve in this position. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. I guess I'll mention something that maybe has some bearing on this, is that we also on tonight's agenda will be talking about our council liaison positions. I had asked that anyone who was interested in I asked council members if they want to change their liaison positions or anything like that, or discuss it, to contact the city clerk. My understanding is we had several people indicate they just wanted to keep the existing positions, and consequently relative to the liaisons, we're not seeing a change there. People seem to be content with what they've got. At least that's what I haven't had any information to any other effect. And it's been really kind of the same thing with the Mayor Pro Tem position. That's just kind of putting the idea out there. Yeah, Nancy, go ahead.
I'm curious to know how this is not following the democratic process when it was in the cover sheet that anyone who wanted to be nominated, or anyone could nominate anybody tonight. So I'm just bewildered as how this isn't the democratic process.
I don't recall reading that in the memo. I've been out of town, so I didn't get an opportunity to read the memo before yesterday. I'm just saying that I think it's important that we have an opportunity for all members of council to be present so that we all are in sync with voting for the Mayor Pro Tem and the Mayor backup Pro Tem position. And that if anyone, especially anyone who's not here, most of the time, all of council is here. This is just one of those evenings when we're missing one council person. So I'm just making that recommendation. I believe that following the democratic process does not involve just switching positions. It involves bringing the issue to council and saying the Mayor Pro Tem position is now open. The backup Mayor Pro Tem position may be open if Natalie becomes the Mayor Pro Tem. It's not a product issue. We have a great council, I'm not worried who serves in the position. I'm just wanting it to be a process where all council members get an opportunity to weigh in. Thank you.
And I'm sorry.
And go ahead, Nancy.
In the event that there are more than 2 candidates for an office and no individual receives such a majority vote, a candidate receiving the least number of votes on each nomination shall withdraw until one candidate receives such a majority vote. So there is an opportunity this evening to nominate others for the positions.
I would just want the full council to be here so that if Counselor Wolf either A, wants to nominate someone or be nominated, that she get an opportunity to do so. I don't feel that this situation is so critical that it can't wait until the next regular session on the 21st, is all I'm saying. And with that, I think I've made my point. Thank you.
Okay, and even though Counselor Wolf is on vacation, she presumably has access to the council packet if she wanted to refer to that. My sense is being on vacation, she wasn't inclined to worry too much about city business. I think we have a motion with a second. I think we need to act on that. I'm trying to be sensitive to the overall sentiment of council as well. I think we should go ahead and vote. If there's strong objections from a majority of the councilors here, I will be inclined to postpone, but Natalie, do you have objections with taking this to a vote?
I don't, I mean, again, I don't have a problem pushing it off because I do think we have time, but I don't know that historically, I mean, there are council meetings I've missed and I don't feel like we've moved agenda items so that I could participate. So I don't know that we have a history of doing that. So I think that's a little unusual, but I appreciate Judith's, request.
Yeah, no, that's correct. We have not moved agenda items because a counselor couldn't be here. We have sometimes taken into consideration looking into the, long term, but not, I think this kind of situation we haven't been into before. John, what are your thoughts? You made the motion.
I think we can go ahead and vote.
And I would go ahead and vote. Nancy? Nancy for a vote. Judith, I would say no. It's consistent. Michelle?
Let's vote.
Okay, so let's, council's intentions, go ahead and vote. We have the motion, we have the second. Any additional discussion? If not, let's vote.
Motion carries 5-1 with Counselor Chandler as the dissenting vote.
Thank you. Congratulations, Natalie. Congratulations, Nancy. Thank you. And Judith, we do understand. So thank you for your comments. Appreciate that. Next item of business, consideration of resolution number 0125, a resolution establishing the locations of the posting of notices for the city of Manitou Springs, Colorado. This is essentially a piece of housekeeping we do at the first meeting in January every year. And this makes us comply with the state law. Elena, do you have anything you want to say regarding this?
No, it's pretty routine, so you just summed it up just fine.
So this is the same practice we've had for years. So I would look for a motion to approve this.
I move to adopt resolution number 0125, a resolution establishing the locations for the posting of notices for the city of Manitou Springs, Colorado.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Let's vote.
Motion carries unanimously.
Very good. Thank you. The next item, G3, consideration of resolution number 0225, a resolution appointing council members and staff as liaisons to the various boards, commissions, committees, agencies, and organizations. And again, this appears to be a repeat of last year, but certainly if any counselor has a desire to make a change, this would be a time to say so. If not, in your council packet, you've been able to see the assignments. Now, if there's no further comment, I'd look for a motion to approve this.
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion by Nancy Fortune. I'll go ahead and second. Okay, any further discussion? Let's vote.
Motion carries unanimously.
Great, okay, thank you. And we, of course, had dispensed with G4 earlier. And also H. So now we will adjourn from our, the plan is to adjourn from the regular meeting and go into work session and discuss the Dillon Mobility Hub design. So with that, I'll seek a motion to adjourn and go into work session.
So moved.
We have a second?
Second.
Okay, let's vote.
Motion carries unanimously.
Okay, great, thank you. So we are adjourned and we'll go into work session. The purpose being to discuss the Dillon Mobility Hub design. And I know this is a little bit out of sequence, but timing is something of an issue. So I think we need to hear some things and provide some direction to city staff. Okay, Denise?
Yeah, Mayor, we are, if we could take 5 minutes, there is coffee, hot tea. We need to reset up the room so that we can be looking at the PowerPoints the whole time. So if we can take 5 minutes and then we're going to reset it up real quick.
Okay, sounds good. So
There's coffee and tea back in
okay,
the
we've
back.
got about 5 minutes. All right, thank you.